Yes, hello everyone and welcome to WrestleLine. I'm your host John Scott, joined by Matt Essex, and you join us for the WrestleMania 34 review. And Matt, how you doing? I know you got to see WrestleMania today. I saw it last night. The whole thing seems, I think one word we can probably both say, a marathon long WrestleMania. I almost feel like this thing needs to be split into 2 days sometimes, a Saturday and a Sunday. But how are you, Matt? And are you in good spirits for this review, or do you feel a little bit tired, whacked, the length of it? How did you, without giving that too much away, how are you coming out of this feeling as a fan?
After last year's kind of WrestleMania, I kind of feel like I'm due an extra couple of matches. I feel a bit short-changed. Where's the extra hour? But I'm fine about it. A bit of a mixed bag when it comes to actually how I enjoyed it and what way I thought matches should go. But, it is what it is, and I like being surprised. It's good that they can still do that.
Yeah, WrestleMania surprise, I think we should call this one. The mixed bag. I can't say... Can't say it was. I tell you, the bookies must have lost quite a lot of money last night. I can imagine. It was almost like they literally went to the complete opposite to what everyone was looking at. Which, you can look at it in two ways. You can say, well, okay, at least they can still shock me, but at the same time, you've got to look at the bigger picture and what everyone's tried to build to, what the whole. The whole thing of getting to somewhere, the sacrifices we've had to make to get to this point, but we'll get there. So WrestleMania 34 coming from New Orleans again. Of course, last time we were there was WrestleMania 30, and was a low. The card going into this, as we said on the preview, looked good on paper. I was quite happy with it. I wasn't overly chuffed with the build up we've had into this. I just feel it's been a bit. I don't know, I think it's almost been like WWE's just been like saying to us, just get to WrestleMania, and that's it, because all the build up to it's been a little bit, it's not been the greatest, and at a time when WWE should be producing the best of its TV to try and get the casual viewer in to watch WrestleMania, I feel like it's been the least. Something interesting last night as well, you'll notice that if you was a new subscriber, you could get it absolutely free. I'm not sure how good business that is, but yeah, they were giving it away completely free for any new subscribers. A couple of my friends that I know who aren't the biggest wrestling fans, but they are kind of like UFC fans, and because Ronda was involved, they basically signed up. I said, look, you can just sign up, get it free, and just cancel within 30 days. You'll be able to watch as much content as you want in the next 29 days. So they was like, well, happy with that. So lots of new subscribers, I'm sure. And I'm sure when the numbers come out and the figures, it all looks really good. But how many of those people actually stayed on and actually paid is probably questionable. But what was interesting as well, Matt, is I was finding out a little bit of financial detail here. Now, of course, you'll notice as well, Matt, that Sky box office in this country and also in America and other places, they still do sell this on pay-per-view. And I thought to myself, I wonder how many people are actually buying them. Well, the information I found out, the US only here, Matt, get this, an all whacking 20,000. So, obviously, they must feel like there's still a market for it, otherwise they wouldn't do it. But it just goes to show you that there's no way they ever want to give those figures out. And, everybody now is going the way of the WWE network. Everybody who's going to stream it rather than buy a pay-per-view for what, an extra, in this country it's an extra 10 quid. So, and you only get to see it once, and the repeats are on whenever I think within like 7 days, and then they go off. So, with this, you get it, anytime you want to watch it, wherever you want to watch it, and all the other stuff. So, just an interesting figure I thought I'd throw out about this and where we are in terms of the pay-per-views. So, Matt, let's get into it. We start with the kickoff show, which of course We was joined by our illustrious friend, Booker T. Oh, it's a statement. Statement. Man, did he come out with some garbage last night. I really don't like those panel things. I think I've said it before. You got JBLD, you got Booker T, and David Otunga was there for a while as well. And whenever they say, right, can we have your predictions, they're never what they really are thinking. You just know that they've been told to give like an equal split, and like trying to do it for storyline. And I'm like, there's no point having them on. I don't care what their opinions are because they're all so scripted. So complete waste of time when they do that. They should do it more like I think they should get more people on just from the outside really to do that and make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, it was really odd. Just a couple of notes I made through this during the matches. Carmella, she showed up. I don't know if you saw that bit, Matt, but she was sort of like bragging about the Money in the Bank. I guess that was their sort of like way of trying to make you think that she might, but I kind of said on the preview I didn't think that would happen. I played downer on it. I got some heat for that as well in my emails about not saying it. But I just didn't see her using it that night, really, for me anyway. But yeah, she did tease it a little bit. It was a weird promo she was trying to do in front of Booker T. I don't know what she was trying to do with all that. But yeah, it's that basically got us into the obviously the kickoff pre-show matches. Now we started with the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, which didn't even feature entrances, and I was like, oh my god, this is awful. It's bad when you don't even get an entrance. Like, you didn't even see the guys come down, so I was like, so there's no surprise of any NXT guys, so there goes my prediction automatically. Noticed that Elias wasn't in there, so I was like, okay, we're going to get somebody completely just off the radar in this. I've got to say, Matt, for you, what did you make of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and did you enjoy it? It went, I tell you, it went just under 17 minutes.
Well, honestly, I kind of felt like this year it was kind of pointless. When they said this is the 5th one, I was like, really? There's been that many already? I mean, it shows you where those guys are at. Can barely remember all of the people that have won it, and I think this year is another one of those moments. The guy who won it really didn't really need to. He's already established well enough.
Wonderful. Yeah, it wasn't anything great, was it? I mean, Dolph Ziggler was doing all the Shawn Michaels spots through the whole thing. I was like, man, and at one point I thought, oh, maybe they'll give something to the Revival. No, that was short-lived. I was just like getting into them, and then they got eliminated straight after. So I was like, oh, well, that ended then. And then I think for the last 3, it come down to like Mojo, Baron Corbin, and Matt Hardy. I was like, oh man, like I'm not a massive Mojo fan. I never have been. I'm going to throw that one out there. I know that there are a few listeners that are his fans, but I don't really see what. I just don't see much about the guy that I can really get behind. I mean, yeah, he's got lots of energy, but that's not gonna get you over to where you need to go. I know that he won it last year. I know Corbin was a winner. So for me, I thought really that there's only one way this is going to go at this point, and of course we had the Bray Wyatt blackout. I was like, oh, here we go again. And I think it was obvious that he was going to help him at this point. I didn't expect they were going to brawl. And a weird alliance, a weird ending, and of course, Woken Matt Hardy wins. And nothing. I've got no problem with Matt Hardy winning it. By the way, I just think it's an odd thing for his character to be sort of winning. I don't know what he really gets from that, but I guess in the end of the day, really, Matt, with who was in there, it doesn't really matter who wins it, because it was always going to be a bit of a. I just don't think it really means anything, if I'm honest. So I wasn't too fussed really by the end point. How about you?
Yeah, same. And like you said, it was a disappointment. There wasn't really any NXT guys in there you could get behind, because at least that way, much like when Baron Corbin won it, you can get behind a new guy and actually make them have an impact before they hit the main roster. But there was none of that this year. It was just like having it for the sake of having it. They might as well just not had it this year and only had the women's one.
Yeah, it wasn't great, and Yeah, it was just very lackluster. I mean, at one point I was rooting for Goldust, bit of an old school fan in him. I thought he had some good bits, but that was about it. There wasn't really the actual match itself. I thought was actually really bad. I thought it was a terrible battle royal. I thought this was an awful way to tribute Andre the Giant on a night that his big promo was going to go out for his HBO thing. I was like, man, I'm glad they didn't put this on the main show now, because this was a terrible advert for that. It was interesting that Kane was in there as well. I was like, what? And obviously, now we know that Big Show didn't have anything to do with WrestleMania. I was thinking like, man, something could have done with something in there. I mean, even though we've seen Big Show win it even, so maybe it wouldn't have helped. But it was random. It was just a load of random people in there with no real meaning for anybody to be winning it. Really tough to score this because it was pretty bad. I can only give it like 1.5 if I'm being honest, and that's just because I just didn't like it. I thought even the ending was a bit bland. I mean, there just wasn't much to get behind. I think I even prefer last year's with Mojo's ending to it. But yeah, I think where this was positioned, unfortunately, and everything about it, I just thought they basically, what WWE did by having them all standing in the ring, they basically said to their audience, this means nothing. Just the way they presented it, in my opinion. So it meant nothing, and that's how I felt. So, 1.5 star for me. Matt, you've got to give this a rating.
I completely agree. 1.5. It was almost like I could have left that out. I could have just skipped that, and I could have got 17 minutes of my life back there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not great. So that was done there. It's worth pointing out as well that by this point, Matt, the cameras had been picking up that John Cena was coming as a fan to watch WrestleMania. When I saw they were doing that, I was like, really? Oh my God. He's here now already at the kickoff. He's going to sit out there, and maybe that's what got fans in there. I don't know, but yeah, he was sitting there. I liked the little the tweet thing he sent out where he was like, he found that guy dressed as the Undertaker. I thought that was quite funny, but other than that, I thought it was, and we'll get to this, but I tell you, I thought it was well overplayed by John Cena. I mean, he overplaying thing big time these days. I mean, he's overreacting. It's overacting. It's just awful at the moment. I mean, it was like I just wasn't a fan of that, and I thought he was doing that the whole way through it. But in any case, then we got the two guys that were going to basically go into the WWE Cruiserweight Championship Tournament Finals between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali in the Cruiserweight Championship match that. We saw our, of course, Rockstar Spud. Of course, what's his name? Drake Maverick. Now, of course, is his new name. I'm never going to stop calling him Spud. That's the problem with all this, if I'm honest. But yeah, it was all about it. I mean, I was glad they actually at least got some entrances. I really liked Ali's entrance. I thought that was quite cool. I thought that was quite unique. The whole thing, the stuff he had going on with the glasses and the handprint thing, I thought was really cool. Looked like a kind of a what do you call it? Trying to think of what it reminded me of a game. But yeah, I mean, that was quite cool. Quite like that. And to be honest, it was a better match than I thought it would be on a kickoff show. Like, I did feel it was better. I still feel in a smaller audience, like NXT TakeOver, this would have been 10 times better. It would have been better received. I still think this was the wrong place to do it, but unless it was going to be on the main show, by the way. But on a kickoff, I was just like, this is terrible. But the match itself, I thought was really good. I thought both guys, told a pretty decent story. I mean, they got just over 12 minutes. It's not the longest time these two guys are ever going to get, but I don't think there's too much more they could do. So Cedric Alexander winning the match in a pin and becoming the new Cruiserweight champion there. What did you make of that, Matt? I think we both selected. Did we both? No, I actually went with Ali actually on this one, but you said Cedric Alexander yourself. So, what did you make of the match, Matt? And obviously, here we go again with another Cruiserweight champion, and hopefully the start of something a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the new direction that we're going to 205 Live meant that this would be a good kind of kick-off match. The only problem was, like I said, the time. It just wasn't given enough time.